spelling, and all of the second grade stuff should be in pre-K. I do all the stuff like a second grader, and he just plays around with words and dilly-dilly. Listen, he doesn't shave, doesn't wear a tie, and his job is certainly easy, so I see why he would win it, but what kind of grown-up is he, literally? I should have won this award. Can you do a redo? Give me a shot. That's his most important job. Me. I love my daddy, and I'm so excited that he won the award. And I'm so happy that I get to be with him on the night he earns it. And I just want to get up and hug him right now. I'm so excited that my dad got it this year, but I'm going to get it next year. And until then, here's my dad.
Becky's kids are much nicer. I blame the parents. So, that was my daughter Katie and my brother Jeff. Thank you guys. Apparently I'm not even the most creative person in my own house. So that's great. But I did shave and I did wear a tie. In return for the oversight that led to me receiving this, I'm going to spare you from listening to my life story, or boring you with talk of my early creative influences, or any other tedious topics that would cause you to flee to the bathroom right now. Unless you really have to go. I'll wait. They said I should drag this out because people really like the long speeches. As the Dalai Lama once said... Why are you laughing? I know stuff. He said, you can't take life too seriously, you'll never get out alive. Alright, he didn't say that. It's from the movie Van Wilder. Ryan Reynolds said it. But it's no less true. So, in the interest of not taking things too seriously, is it cool if we just have a little fun for the next 3 to 5 minutes? Yeah. Is that alright? So, one night while the Sabres were desperately trying to get the puck out of their zone, I took the time to look back at my career. And the first things that came to mind were not any particular ads or campaigns. It was really just the stories. So I'm going to share a few now, if you don't mind. I think of travel mishaps with Tom Weber, and there are many. But my favorite is late one night. We're heading back to our hotel rooms, walking down the hallway. And Tom puts his key in the door, and for my amusement, he opens the door and yells, "Honey, I'm home!" So I'm a little bit further down the hall and I hear a commotion. So I turn around to look and see what's going on, and what I see is a very angry gentleman, wearing nothing but his tighty-whities and a look of anger, fleeing out of his room and about to attack Tom and kill him. It was one of my favorite moments on the road. Of many horrifying moments that happened. Of course, I just left him there, went to my room, went to sleep. Another one of my favorites is the time I got an email from the legendary Alden Schutte. And it said something to the effect of, "Bill, the last time we spoke, you were looking to move back to town, and so I thought you might want to get lunch and we could discuss." So I emailed him back and I said, "Well, we've never met. And I've only ever lived here. So, I don't, but let's have lunch anyway. Why not?" So I show up at Siena to meet Alden Schutte for lunch, because I think this would be great. And I show up in my customary homeless attire. Alden walks in wearing a fur coat that costs more than every piece of clothing I've ever had combined. And I'm looking around at all these wealthy patrons thinking, they must be wondering why Alden adopted a grown homeless man. So So I stopped eating my soup with my hands and I tried it over. It really ended up to be kind of a lovely conversation. So these stories are endless, and I won't take up all night, but here's just a few. You know, I think of eating lunch at Chef's with Bill Collins and Bob Travers, all of us wearing bibs, on Valentine's Day. Which must have appeared to be the worst romantic relationship ever conjured. I think of ringing in my first day as a full-time freelancer, with my nose gushing blood for no apparent reason on my way into my first client meeting, with my hair inexplicably styled like the first day of 4th grade. And anyone who's privy to my crippling fear of being alone for more than 11 seconds can see why the freelance thing didn't work out. I think at the time I was trying to lure a creative from another agency, and I wrote this note saying how I heard everything was really awful over there, and everybody was jumping ship, and I had an opportunity so they could flee because it was such a nightmare over there. And I made the brilliant move of trying to deduce this person's email address, not thinking that they had the same first name as the owner of that agency. That got awkward fast. There are plenty more stories, which generally revolve around me doing, saying, or reacting to something preposterous, the kind of stuff that only happens in this business. When it comes to my actual work, this award is nice, because up until now, my career highlight was using the word fart on a billboard. Now, that was in fact the realization of a boyhood dream, I won't lie to you. And it's the reason my parents are here tonight, because they're so proud of everything. The great Wayne Gretzky has a lot of quotes that float around out there. Sorry, Canadian. But my favorite one is this. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Gretzky really said that, it wasn't Ryan Reynolds. Sorry. I guess if I'd say anything about the way I work, it's that I'm not afraid to take the shot. I guess if you're not dangling on the edge of possible disaster, there's very little likelihood you'll ever do anything amazing. I'd rather risk being fired than ever hand over an ad with people shaking hands with the headline, "Innovation for Tomorrow because people make the difference." I'm just not going to do that.
Not happening.
Hold on, I can't read my writing. Appear whole, share the credit. Oh, seems fair. Hello, Julia. How are you guys? If I don't say it enough, I love you all very, very much. That was supposed to be a joke. You guys just brought it way down. You just ruined the whole thing. You guys have made Geely a powerhouse in Buffalo and beyond, and I'm just a big brother who's looking out for you in the alley. To our creatives, I put you maniacs up against anyone, anywhere. And thanks to Jamie Phipps for trusting us not to break your ad agency. To all the other people over the years who've helped me not get fired, I really appreciate it. All the art directors, writers, account execs, producers, directors, and clients who see things the way I do, or at least see why I see it that way. You know who you are. If you're not sure that I'm talking about you, you can check with me later, and I'll refer you to my spokesperson, Mr. Jack Daniels. Wait a minute. Don't overdo the humility. No one is buying it. So, fair enough. Let me talk for a minute about the most important project I've been responsible for, which happens to be the one you saw up on that screen a couple minutes ago.
Woohoo!
My lovely wife, Jen, always says a good job doesn't love you back. And I can tell you for certain, that no ad I've ever done, no matter how creative it was or how many awards it won, has ever given me back what my daughter has. So that's why I don't work 70 hours a week. Also, I'm a bit of a slacker, but that's one reason I don't. And what I'm most proud of is that I have not missed her growing up. I don't miss her games, and I don't miss her events, and just general screwing around time, which we call shenanigans. So, you know, I always said that I would give this business everything that I had, but I wasn't going to give it my whole soul. And I managed to get this far doing that, so I think it's worked out all right. I'm just going to leave you with a few general truths I've picked up in my time around the block. These are in no particular order. There's creative inspiration to be found all over, just not in someone else's ads. Treat interns humanely, they may hire you one day. There's enough credit for everybody. Spending a lot of hours on a job doesn't necessarily make it good. If you're going to be a creative director, don't forget the directing part. There's no such thing as a boring product or brand. You can make anything interesting unless you use a pun. Sometimes the first idea actually is the best. You're only as good as the AEs you work with. This is pretty much my only skill. Ads that sound like ads get treated like ads. Helping other people's careers has been the best part of mine. Advertising can do a hell of a lot of good beyond selling stuff. Katie, sorry I said hell. I'm going to get hell for that. I understand why the madmen drank. I hate when people cry. I've spent 2.7% of my waking hours doing timesheets. And I've learned that people will eat positively anything you leave in the kitchen for free, even if you leave it frozen. To my high school English teacher, who told me I'd never get anywhere screwing around all the time. I'm sorry, Mr. Winsky. Mr. Alex Osborn says you were way off. I got into this business to avoid math and responsibility. I've managed to reach half that goal, which isn't bad. Thanks for this. I'm going to take off this tie.